For decades, Princess Anne has been known as the most loyal and devoted child of Queen Elizabeth II. Their relationship was not just one of mother and daughter, but a deep connection built on trust, understanding, and shared responsibility during some of the monarchy's most defining moments. Anne never sought the spotlight, yet she stood beside the Queen through countless royal duties, both grand and modest. The British public has often expressed a hope that she might one day become queen herself, seeing in her the embodiment of a traditional monarchy, steady, principled, and dignified. It comes as no surprise, then, that Anne was the one the Queen entrusted with some of her most private secrets, including a message never before revealed, a handwritten note from the Queen herself, written before her passing, concerning Princess Catherine. Now, after years of silence, Anne has chosen to make that message public. Could it be a prophecy, or the Queen's final wish regarding the future of the monarchy? Whatever it may contain, this revelation is expected to stir powerful emotions among the public and could fundamentally reshape Catherine's place within the British royal family. When Catherine Middleton officially joined the royal family in 2011, many wondered, could a woman from a middle-class background, with no aristocratic roots, truly integrate into a world governed by centuries-old rituals, protocols, and traditions? Surprisingly, the first person to show her unwavering empathy and respect was none other than Queen Elizabeth II. Despite being the epitome of royal authority and discipline, the Queen saw something unique in Catherine: quiet, unrebellious, and never seeking the spotlight. Catherine patiently learned, observed, and gradually adapted to the monarchy's stringent expectations. It was this composure that touched the Queen's heart. One of the most memorable moments came in 2012, just a year after the wedding, when the Queen invited Catherine alone to attend a museum opening in Leicester. This was not merely a public engagement, but a subtle message to the world the Queen was beginning to place her trust in her new daughter-in-law. On numerous occasions, during diplomatic events or formal ceremonies, Catherine was positioned prominently by the Queen, a privilege not granted to every newcomer. This was a quiet but profound acknowledgement. This bond became even more evident when Catherine faced behind-the-scenes challenges: the pressure of media scrutiny, the skeptical gazes within the royal circle, and the controversies sparked by comparisons with Meghan Markle. Amid it all, the Queen did not take sides, but at key moments, she supported Catherine through actions rather than words. An insider once revealed that during the media storm surrounding Megxit, when Prince Harry and Meghan chose to step back from royal duties, Catherine was the one who stayed, upholding the family's image and honor. This deepened the Queen's trust, cementing her belief that Catherine was not just the wife of the heir, but a pillar for the monarchy's future. Though never explicitly stated in public, the symbolic gifts the Queen bestowed on Catherine, such as the Royal Family Order, quietly conveyed her deep support and affection. In the Queen's eyes, Catherine was not only an exemplary daughter-in-law, but also someone destined to carry forward the royal ideals into the 21st century. It was from this special relationship that Princess Anne, the daughter fiercely loyal and close to the Queen, became the keeper of a unique message the Queen intended solely for Catherine. A message kept secret until now, and when revealed, it left King Charles speechless. What in this message could make an entire king fall silent? The answer takes us to the heart of this story, where truths about love, power, and trust within the British monarchy are gradually unveiled. If Catherine represents the new generation, Princess Anne embodies the traditional monarchy: strict, devoted, and unwaveringly loyal to duty. Born in 1950, Princess Anne is the only daughter of Queen Elizabeth II, and for decades, she has been one of the hardest working and most dedicated royals, despite rarely gracing tabloid headlines. Free of scandal, unflashy, and needing no spotlight to affirm her worth, Princess Anne chooses quiet service. It is this composure and discretion that made her the only family member entrusted with the Queen's most significant secrets, until the time came to reveal them. You may not know this, but Princess Anne was the only one granted private access to the Queen in her final days, when her health was fading but her mind remained sharp. Amid countless documents, wills, and private meetings, the Queen still made time to speak alone with her only daughter. These conversations were never recorded, but according to close sources, there was a deeply emotional moment that Princess Anne later chose to share with just one person, King Charles. In a private meeting at Sandringham, weeks after the Queen's passing, Princess Anne pulled her brother aside and said, "Mother left something, not on paper, but in her heart. And I think you need to know." What stunned King Charles was not grandiose words or a shocking secret, but the sincerity and depth of the message. For what the Queen wished to convey was not for her eldest son, but for Catherine Middleton. Over the years, Princess Anne had witnessed the transformation of the royal family, watching Catherine evolve from a young woman navigating complex protocols to a poised, steadfast figure and a role model for the next generation. Anne was the first to recognize that the Queen's affection for Catherine went beyond fondness. It was a spiritual succession. According to an insider, the Queen once confided in Anne one day, "When I'm gone, Catherine will be the one to hold this family together." This was the truth Princess Anne wanted King Charles to grasp. While he carried the weight of kingship, Catherine, whom his mother deeply trusted, would be the anchor for the monarchy's stability and unity. Princess Anne's decision to share this message was not random. Known for her caution and reticence, she rarely reveals emotions or private matters. But in this case, she knew if this message was not passed on, a vital part of the Queen's legacy would be lost. Through this act, Princess Anne not only honored a wish, but also continued an invisible thread, connecting the Queen's generation to the next, tradition to innovation, a silent past to a future that Catherine might shape. And ironically, even King Charles, seen as the Queen's clearest successor, was unaware of this message. So, when his sister recounted their mother's final words, he fell silent, not out of jealousy, but because it was a moment when he realized that, even as king, he needed someone like Catherine by his side, just as the Queen had once relied on Princess Anne's resilience and loyalty. This opens a new chapter in the story Catherine, chosen not for her title, but for her character. In British royal history, some words and actions, though spoken in silence, carry a resonance that echoes across generations. This time, the final whisper of Queen Elizabeth II, the woman who reigned for over 70 years, was for someone few expected: Catherine Middleton. When Princess Anne revealed that the Queen had left a special message for Catherine, not for Charles, her eldest son, nor William, the heir, but for the woman who quietly stands behind her husband's spotlight, the royal family was momentarily frozen. But the most shocked was none other than King Charles III. He, who thought he knew his mother better than anyone, never anticipated that her final message would carry such profound and direct significance for his daughter-in-law. The message was not written on paper, not recorded, but conveyed through private, heartfelt words, kept by Princess Anne, the Queen's only daughter, until the right moment. It was not meant to stir drama, but to illuminate a path for a woman the Queen believed would be the soul of the monarchy's future. So, what was the content of this message, according to Princess Anne's account? The Queen said, "Kate has the strength of a queen, but the softness of a mother. She doesn't need a crown to be respected. Her elegance and virtue have already won the admiration of all of England." This was no ordinary compliment. It was an acknowledgement from a woman who had witnessed Diana's fall within the monarchy, seen Meghan Markle leave in bitterness, and now placed her full trust in Catherine as a symbol of stability. At first glance, the message seems gentle, but it carries undeniable political weight. It was not just personal affection, it was a directive. And as a queen fading into the twilight of her time, leaving a message for a daughter-in-law instead of her heir or son was a deeply symbolic act. It could signify a subtle transfer of soft power, not derived from the throne, but from public trust, affection, and the ability to steer the monarchy's image in a new era. King Charles, who had always yearned for his mother's recognition, couldn't hide his unease. According to a source close to Clarence's house, upon hearing Anne's words, he remained silent for a long time. His eyes, often described as sharp and inscrutable, were reportedly red-rimmed. Whether from emotion, jealousy, or awakening is unclear, but it was evident he realized Catherine's role in the new reign might be more significant than he had imagined. The question arises, why did the Queen choose Catherine? The answer lies in resilience. Catherine avoids scandals, shuns sensational statements, and doesn't stand out for a bold personality, but for stability. In a monarchy rife with turmoil, Catherine is the one who smiles at the right moment, maintains impeccable demeanor, and exudes a gentle yet irreplaceable presence. The Queen, who had navigated countless media crises, knew the monarchy didn't need a warrior, but someone who could make the public feel everything is still all right. Catherine embodies that. Moreover, the Queen's message was a preparation. She may have known her time was short. She understood that one day Catherine would become Queen Consort beside William. But she also knew Catherine would face immense pressure, not just from the public, but from within the royal family. The Queen's words were thus not only encouragement, but an invisible shield to help Catherine stand firm against future challenges. The message was also a directive to the entire royal family: see Catherine as a pillar. Don't underestimate her for her soft demeanor. Don't mistake her silence for weakness. For this woman, in the Queen's words, quietly builds what others can only achieve with loud proclamations. When this message was revealed, a wave of emotions swept across Britain. Those who loved Diana saw in Catherine the continuation of a gentle yet resilient mother. Royal supporters believed she would be a new anchor after Elizabeth II's passing. And skeptics began to question, perhaps, after all the noise, silence is the true power within the monarchy. As Princess Anne finished her account, the room fell silent. King Charles, known for his composure, sometimes coldness, suddenly couldn't speak. He didn't leap up, show overt anger, or visible distress. Instead, a prolonged silence, long enough to convey he was experiencing an internal earthquake. According to those close to him, his gaze was no longer as sharp as usual. It was the look of a man confronting something unprepared, the truth that the mother he revered all his life left her final words not for him, the heir to the throne, but for his daughter-in-law, Catherine. Why did this shake him so deeply? Perhaps because, deep down, King Charles always carried a quiet hope that he would finally receive his mother's full recognition, something he felt lacking throughout his childhood and years as Prince of Wales. In the royal family, Elizabeth II was famously reserved and sparing with praise. Charles spent his life proving he was worthy of the crown, the responsibility, the acknowledgement. Yet, in her final moments, her trust was placed in someone else. Not just Catherine, but Kate, the woman who entered the monarchy as an outsider, with no royal blood, no grandeur, only a simple love for William and the resolve to withstand every critical gaze. Thus, upon hearing the message, Charles wasn't angry, but he was hurt. Not out of jealousy, but because it forced him to reflect on himself and his relationship with Catherine in an entirely new light. Until now, the relationship between King Charles and his daughter-in-law was never considered close. Though no public conflicts existed, a distance persisted between generations, perspectives, and approaches to the public. Catherine epitomizes savvy media control, while Charles was entangled in controversial scandals for decades. He once viewed Catherine as part of William's strategy, not a political figure in her own right. But now, knowing his mother placed such trust in Catherine to leave a private message for her, Charles is beginning to reassess. Could this be the moment he shifts his perspective? Quite possibly, yes, in realizing he wasn't the center of his mother's final trust. Charles also sees the monarchy's evolution, a reign he temporarily stewards, but figures like William and Catherine are its true future. To protect that future, he must do something unprecedented: delegate and open his heart. Observers believe the Queen's message, through Princess Anne, could catalyze Charles to forge a closer bond with Catherine, not just because she's the wife of the heir, but because she truly has the potential to be a unifying national symbol in a Britain still divided after Elizabeth II's passing. A bigger question emerges: could this also change how he interacts with William possibly? Because Catherine never walks alone. Every step she takes is also William's. If Charles truly recognizes Catherine's importance, he will need to engage more with his son, not as a king to a prince, but as a father to the heir of a new era's wisdom. Charles's silence that day, it turns out, was a wake-up call, quiet but profound. Perhaps, for the first time, he understood why his mother, a woman who lived for the crown, chose to speak her final words to Catherine instead of him. And perhaps, for the first time, he truly began to trust Catherine as a future queen, one who needs no throne to change history. The message Queen Elizabeth II left for Catherine, relayed through Princess Anne, didn't just surprise King Charles. It sent ripples far beyond, touching the complex, interwoven dynamics of tradition, duty, and personal emotions within the royal family. First, consider the bond between King Charles and Prince William. For years, though father and son, clear differences have existed in vision, conduct, and public engagement. William embodies the new generation, calm, discreet, yet highly effective in preserving the monarchy's image. Catherine is a vital part of that image. Now, knowing his mother, Queen Elizabeth, not only trusted but deliberately left a message for Catherine, Charles must acknowledge that his daughter-in-law's influence may exceed expectations. Could this make him feel sidelined in the narrative of the monarchy's future? Or, conversely, will he use this moment to mend a father-son relationship tested many times? The answer may not be immediate, but the message has drawn a new line. A line where Catherine, once the commoner girl, has become someone expected to preserve the Queen's legacy and spirit. This will undoubtedly shape how other family members perceive her. There will be admiration, but there may also be envy, especially in a royal family that has seen its share of internal rifts, like the strained bond between William and Harry, or Charles and his siblings over decades. If Catherine is seen as the chosen successor to the Queen's spirit, some members might feel marginalized. Those harboring quiet resentments may feel they're no longer central to the succession narrative. However, a more optimistic scenario exists, that the Queen's message could be a unifying force, a reminder that despite differences, family remains family, and that the person entrusted by the Queen wasn't meant to divide but to uphold unity. If the royals are mature enough to set aside egos, this could mark a new phase, more stable, cohesive, and forward-looking. For the public, the message's impact is significant. The British people have long viewed the monarchy with both affection and skepticism. After major events like Princess Diana's death, Prince Andrew's scandals, or Harry and Meghan's high-profile exit, trust in the monarchy is no longer absolute. Yet Catherine, alongside William, remains a rare bright spot, retaining strong public support. The fact that Queen Elizabeth II, the last symbol of the old monarchy, chose to leave a vital message for Catherine further solidifies her image in the public's eyes. No longer just Kate Middleton, Prince William's wife, she is an independent figure trusted by the Queen. This creates a sense of witnessing a gentle, dignified, and humane transition, one the public can believe in. However, trust comes with expectations. Once this message reaches the public, whether formally or through discreet accounts like Princess Anne's, Catherine will face a new burden proving herself worthy of the Queen's trust, not just as the prince's wife, but as a figure with historical responsibility. She is no longer in the background. She is the center, and every action, every word from now on, will be measured against the legacy the Queen left. For the royal family, this moment is not just a family story, it is a strategic, emotional, and media turning point, shaping how they are perceived globally in the post-Elizabeth era. The story of Princess Anne's unexpected revelation not only unveils a profound glimpse into the bond between Queen Elizabeth II and Catherine, but also opens a new chapter, where succession lies not just in the throne, but in the trust and expectations of an entire dynasty. We've reflected on King Charles' stunned reaction, a man thought to hold all the power, upon hearing his sister recount this sacred message. A message not written in documents, not announced during national mourning, but echoing to this day through the words of a woman who rarely speaks out, Princess Anne. The message's content, though not fully detailed, is powerful enough to shake the monarchy's foundations. It speaks not just of one person, but of a vision. The Queen didn't grant power, but she bestowed trust. And the recipient of that trust is Catherine, the woman once deemed too ordinary to be a royal icon. Oh, so what does this message truly mean for the United Kingdom's future? Is it a sign that Catherine will play a pivotal role in the post-Elizabeth era? An era led by King Charles, but potentially shaped by figures like her. And more importantly, what will Catherine do with this quiet yet weighty support? Will she continue her discreet path, or step into the spotlight as a central figure, as the Queen herself did during the challenging 20th century? We want to hear your thoughts from you watching this video. What do you think of the Queen's message to Catherine? How will it shape her future and that of the royal family amid pressures from the public, media, and the royal family itself? Does Catherine have the strength to turn this message into a new legacy of her own? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this story deep and meaningful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to join us on our journey to uncover the secrets hidden behind palace gates. For where power reigns, sometimes the truth whispers in silence, and we are here to listen and tell that story.